Storage type determination. Now that we got the mapping right, we determined the correct warehouse storage types, it is time to search for the actual stock. And in order to execute the picking process in the EWM system, we obviously need some stock removal warehouse tasks first. And for the warehouse task creation, we need to determine where we want the stock to be picked out of. And the first part of that determination is obviously the storage type. Well, and like we had it with the put away warehouse tasks during the inbound process explanation, we need to maintain basically two steps for that determination. We need to define a storage type search sequence. And we need a determination of this storage type search sequence. The storage type search sequence is basically a definition with a list that should answer the following questions. In which storage types do we want the EWM system to search for the stock? In which sequence do we want the EWM to search? And do we want stock in transportation units to be part of the search as well? And how such a storage type search sequence looks like in the EWM system, we are going to have a look at right now. So let us head to the customizing once again. We open the Extended Warehouse Management node. This time we head for the Goods Issue Process node. We click on Strategies. And we go for the Specify Storage Type Search Sequence option. On the right side of the screen, we see a list of the different storage type search sequences we got in our test system. And for explanation purposes, let us just go with the one called tie. So we choose this one and double click on the assigned storage types for this search sequence. And with this example, we got one entry which basically reads like this. In the warehouse number 150, the storage type search sequence tie is supposed to search for the stock we want to pick in the storage type ATL. We do not want the system to use a storage type group, and we also do not want to search for stock in existing transportation units. This is actually pretty straightforward. And if we want to include another storage type, we just need to enter an additional line with a sequence number 2 and add another storage type for this specific search sequence. Now we have the possibility to let the EWM system search for the stock we want to send to our customers. But as you might already know it by now, we somehow need to tell the EWM system to use which storage type search sequence. So basically a determination of the correct storage type search sequence. But before we come to that point, we first need to check out the other attributes that have an impact on the determination. So let us have a look. Stock removal control indicator. Up to now, we defined a storage type search sequence and added the storage types we want the EWM system to search for the stock in. But of course, just like we had it in the inbound process with a put away control indicator, we can also maintain that logic not just based on the warehouse process type of the inbound delivery item, or since we are in the outbound process right now, the warehouse process type of the outbound delivery order item. We can also add product-specific indicators, the so-called stock removal control indicator. The approach is pretty much the same as we had it during the inbound process. We define such a stock removal control indicator and add it to the specific products we want to use it. And to see what that looks like, let us head back to the EWM Customizing. And we are going to go for the same node we had before. Under the Extended Warehouse Management, Goods Issue Process, strategies. And this time we go for the Define Stock Removal Control Indicator option. And just like we had it in the inbound process, we define what stock removal indicator we want to have in the EWM system. There's basically nothing more to it, just a definition that we got, for example, a shoe removal indicator or maybe a textile stock removal indicator. But this definition offers us the possibility to add it to certain kinds of products in the warehouse product maintenance. For this example, we are going to go with a nice handbag again. And on the tab for the warehouse data, we can see the stock removal indicator. So basically, we defined a stock removal indicator called text and we assigned it to our nice handbag. And how that plays out when we want to determine a storage type search sequence, we are going to have a look at next. Storage type search sequence determination. Now we defined all the attributes that come into play for the EWM searching for stock. Well, at least in which storage types we want the system to search. But as we already mentioned quite a few times, defining stuff alone doesn't do the trick. So we again need some sort of determination. And when it comes to the determination of the storage type search sequence, we got the following attributes that come into play. The object laying the foundation is of course the outbound delivery order. And since you know that warehouse process types, for example, are determined on item level, the foundation is actually the outbound delivery order item. And within the outbound delivery order item, we got several attributes. Like of course the warehouse number, the actual product the customer ordered, the determined warehouse process type when the outbound delivery order was created, and the stock type. And when it comes to the actual product the customer ordered, we got two additional attributes. The stock removal control indicator we just showed you a few seconds ago, and whether the product is some hazardous goods, for example. And all these attributes we now see on the left side of the screen are taken into consideration when the EWM system checks the customizing settings we made for determining a proper storage type search sequence. And the result of that determination should be a storage type search sequence we want the EWM to use for searching for the actual stock, and the stock removal rule. What exactly that is, we are going to check out in the next episode. And that is how this determination works. So let us have a look at how this is set up in the EWM Customizing. Well, and since we are already in the right customizing path, we just head for the Determine Storage Type Search Sequence node this time. And at first glance, this may also seem familiar to you, as it is pretty much the same customizing like we had it with the inbound process. Now let us just walk through an example. Let us just go with this one. This entry basically translates like this. In the warehouse number 150, we want products marked with the stock removal control indicator text and getting delivered with an outbound delivery order item that determined a warehouse process type 2010 to use the storage type search sequence text and the stock removal rule FIFO. And like we already showed you in this schematic picture, the determination logic can of course be set up more detailed, like using the hazardous goods indicators 1 and 2 or the stock type, for example. But of course we do not need to make it more complicated than it actually is. So the most common determination will always be done either with a stock removal control indicator or a warehouse process type, or well, a combination of these two settings. Now we almost have it, but we got one more option we can use. So let us head back and have a look at the optimization of the access. With this customizing table, we have the option of how the EWM system is going to read this table we just had a look at for the determination. With this example, we first want the system to check for both values, for the stock removal control indicator and the warehouse process type. If no search sequence could be determined using this option, we want the EWM system to go on using just the warehouse process type, and in the next case, just to go with the stock removal indicator. Basically, we know what settings we made before, and here we have the possibility to optimize the determination access. Normally, we set the most detailed access in the beginning, leading to the least detailed option in the end. And that was how the EWM system determines a proper storage type for the actual stock we want to send out to our customers.